This is wrestling's greatest moments.
Hey now, wrestling fans! It's time for another episode of Wrestling's Greatest Moments. In 1984 and 1985, WWF fans witnessed one of the best booked and best wrestled feuds of the era, a rivalry that lasted nearly a year, stretched across the WWF's rapidly growing circuit, and helped cement the Intercontinental Championship as one of wrestling's most prestigious titles. Today, we're not just looking at the feud, we're uncovering the story behind it, the various people behind the scenes who helped make the feud so great, the wrestler originally booked to beat Tito Santana for the title, why the rivalry never happened at WrestleMania, and the regret Tito Santana still talks about to this day. Sit back as Wrestling's Greatest Moments presents Famous Feuds, Tito vs. the Hammer. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. A perfect pairing. Tito Santana was a babyface wrestler that continued the WWF's tradition of pushing wrestlers that appealed to specific ethnicities, whether it was Italian-American icon Bruno Sammartino, Polish-American powerhouse Ivan Putski, or the promotion's Puerto Rican star Pedro Morales, the first wrestler to become a Triple Crown winner by holding the World title, Intercontinental title, and WWF Tag Team title. While Santana was billed from Tacula, Mexico, he was actually Mexican-American. He was also no stranger to the WWF, having teamed with Ivan Putski to win the WWF Tag Team Championship in 1979 before dropping the belts to the Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika. Tito left the WWF for other promotions, including the American Wrestling Association, AWA, but returned in 1983, working his way up the card and reminding fans that he was a solid singles wrestler. In 1984, Santana bested Intercontinental Champion Don Muraco, ending the Magnificent One's second IC title reign. It was a sign of the WWF's faith in Santana, and according to the book The Six Pack, On the Open Road in Search of WrestleMania, Santana was the company's number 2 babyface behind Hulk Hogan. In addition, by November 17, 1984, Tito was well on his way to his most lucrative year ever, making $176,000. If Tito Santana was the ideal babyface, he had his perfect opposite in Greg the Hammer Valentine. Valentine was coming off a successful 4-year campaign in Jim Crockett Promotions, JCP, when he jumped back to the WWF. The son of legendary wrestler Johnny Valentine, the Hammer continued his father's tradition of hard-hitting matches, where opponents wondered if Valentine knew that wrestling was supposed to be a work. In his memoir To Be the Man, Valentine's longtime tag team partner and occasional rival Nature Boy Ric Flair recalls how Valentine earned his nickname. He was called the Hammer because of the way he'd lean an opponent backward over the ropes, then smash him across the chest with a forearm. The blow would come down so hard that sweat would fly everywhere. If anyone doubted the authenticity of wrestling, I'd like to have seen them get in the ring and take that move, his opponents believed, that's for sure. Greg was the ideal heel, a tough-looking opponent who was equally adept at technical wrestling and brawling. Valentine was a double threat, with his finisher the Bionic Elbow capable of ending matches, and his submission finisher the Figure 4 leglock capable of sending opponents to the hospital. Indeed, Valentine had 2 successful feuds based off his penchant for shoving opponents, including his programs in JCP against Wahoo McDaniel and his later program against the WWF's favorite foe, Native American Jay Strongbow. In both instances, Valentine used his Figure 4 to kayfabe break his opponent's legs. The WWF would repeat this time-tested formula when the Hammer locked up with Tito, turning a real-life injury into a storyline. At the time, Tito was dealing with a worsening knee injury. According to Santana, the injury began when he took a bump during a match against Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff that saw Tito fly over the top rope and land on his back. In his memoir, Don't Call Me Chico, Santana reveals that Orndorff was in line to defeat him for the Intercontinental Championship. However, Mr. Wonderful reportedly had heat with WWF booker George Scott, and these plans were nixed. According to Tito, Roddy Piper helped him incorporate his injury into a payday. Roddy Piper was one of the most intelligent guys in the business. He gave me some great advice, and in the end, he suggested I take the time off for the knee operation, but have Vince parlay the injury into an angle on TV. Vince McMahon, who was happy with Santana toughing things out despite his injury, agreed to the idea. The feud begins. By the summer of 1984, Valentine was challenging Santana for the Intercontinental Championship, with Santana usually getting the win. That changed on September 24th, 1984, when Valentine squared off against Tito at the London Gardens in London, Ontario. The match aired on WWF's All-Star Wrestling. Fans witnessed Valentine's manager, Captain Lou Albano, trash-talk Tito while blocking his way into the ring. Valentine waylaid Santana while he argued with Albano, targeting Santana's leg with vicious kicks. Santana staggered into the ring, clearly hurt. Just how much was unknown though. Whatever his injury, the champion fought back, punishing the challenger with punches. Then Santana capitalized with his finisher, the flying forearm. He covered Valentine for the 3 count and thought he'd won the match. Unbeknownst to Tito, Valentine had placed his leg under the rope, stopping the count. While the referee tried to tell Tito he hadn't won, Valentine attacked Santana from behind, covering him for a 3 count. The Hammer celebrated his win and topped his victory lap by locking Santana in the figure 4 leg lock. If Tito wasn't injured before, he was now, and WWF announcers told fans that Santana would require surgery to repair his leg. Behind the scenes, Tito's kayfabe injury was used to cover a real-life injury that required surgery. The WWF even sent a camera crew to cover Santana's surgery and post-surgery vow to get revenge and regain the title. A bigger stage. Santana and Valentine's feud couldn't have come at a better time. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, aka Vince McMahon Jr., was positioning the WWF to become a national promotion, which meant greater exposure for Tito and the Hammer. Their feud would take place across North America and be broadcast on cable television via the USA Network, the WWF's short-lived presence on WTBS, its syndicated programming, and even at the WWF's WrestleMania event. The chase. Once he recovered, Tito Santana took off like a rocket. Just as he'd promised, he went after Valentine. During a TV taping, Tito watched from ringside as Valentine took out Jobber to the Stars, Rick Quick Draw McGraw. The Hammer beat McGraw with a figure 4 leg lock, then decided to torture his opponent afterward by keeping the hold clinched in, using the ropes for added leverage. An enraged Santana charged into the ring, firing off blow after blow to Valentine, who bailed from the ring. Now it was time to capitalize on the fans' interest and Santana's quest for revenge. Valentine and Santana battled in arenas across the United States and Canada. Tito surprised Valentine when he introduced a new weapon to his arsenal, the figure 4 leg lock. However, Valentine proved a canny champion, keeping the title by hook or by crook, with the emphasis on crook, as he was never shy at breaking the rules. The feud proved extremely profitable, with the WWF using it to headline its B shows, that is, shows that weren't main evented by WWF champion Hulk Hogan. The money poured in, and the WWF maintained its fans' interest in the program by adding stipulation matches that created the illusion that Valentine would finally get his. No WrestleMania Moment. Given the program's box office success, Santana was taken aback when he learned he wouldn't be wrestling Valentine at the WWF's mega event, WrestleMania. As Tito tells it, there were 2 reasons behind this puzzling decision. The first was that Vince McMahon saw Santana as the ideal wrestler to start the show. I found out later that I was not being punished, and I was not an oversight. Vince came to me and told me that the reason I was on first was that he knew I would deliver, and he really wanted something good to open the show, not just another throwaway match. He wanted to set a tone. McMahon explained things to Santana. I also understand you don't really like your spot, he said, but I want you to know that I put you in the first match because I want people to get off their butts right off the bat, and I think you're the only one who can really do it. The second reason for saving Tito versus the Hammer for another day was money. Later on, WWF booker George Scott would also tell me that another reason why Greg Valentine and I didn't wrestle a main event match at Mania was that our matches were so good that they didn't want to give it away. The program wasn't finished yet, we were selling out arenas still with it, and the WWF wanted to continue to use us in every individual city we toured. By not exposing it at pay-per-view event and bringing some finality to our feud, we could continue to make money with our match around the country. While Tito didn't lock horns with the champ at WrestleMania, the WWF used Valentine's title defense against the Junkyard Dog to build it further. When Valentine scored a pinfall via his usual cheating ways, Tito showed up and alerted the referee to the champion's chicanery, leading to the match being restarted and Valentine taking a countout loss rather than drop the belt to the dog. The cage match payoff. Defeating Valentine for the title proved harder than ever, both due to Valentine's cheating tactics and occasionally dumb luck. On one occasion, Tito battled the Hammer in a lumberjack match at Madison Square Garden. The match's stipulation all but guaranteed that Valentine couldn't take a powder. Unfortunately for Tito, Lady Luck took a powder on him late in the match. The two wrestlers glided headfirst into each other, KOing each man. Valentine happened to land on top of Santana, and the referee counted to 3, giving Valentine the victory. On July 6, 1985, Tito Santana finally gained revenge, defeating the Hammer to regain the Intercontinental Championship. The two battled in a steel cage match, a bout that still was seen by fans as a fitting finish to a feud. Santana and Valentine beat each other silly, with Valentine making his way to the cage door to escape and win the match. Santana was taking the babyface route by climbing over the top of the cage, and in a move suggested by Gorilla Monsoon, Tito kicked the cage door into Valentine's face as Santana climbed down the cage, securing his win. After the match, irate Valentine took the Intercontinental Championship belt and destroyed it, smashing it against the steel cage. This set things up for Vince McMahon's plan to commission a new title belt. Not long after, Mean Gene Okerlund presented the new championship belt to Tito. As for the previous belt, Tito took it home and told his wife to throw it out, a move he would later regret, and one Greg Valentine would tease Santana about for years, ribbing Tito that the two of them could have made much money on the convention circuit selling photos with the crumpled championship. The feud went nearly 10 months, a record at the time. At least that's what Tito claims Howard Finkel told him. According to Tito, the Hammer felt the feud could have continued. If you ask him today, Greg will tell you that he thinks our feud still had more juice in it and ended prematurely. Maybe we could have broken Tito's other leg to build for another round of matches. Santana and Valentine would work follow-up matches, with Valentine now in the hunt again for Tito's title. However, Valentine was soon paired with Brutus Beefcake, forming the WWF's version of the Dream Team, the name Valentine had used in the 1970s during his team with Ric Flair. The Dream Team quickly captured the WWF Tag Team Championship, besting the US Express, Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo, for the titles on August 24th, 1985. Tito's second reign lasted 7 months, ending on February 6, 1986, when Randy Macho Man Savage clobbered him with a foreign object, securing a tainted but nonetheless recognized title win. Why this feud worked so well. Tito Santana vs. Greg Valentine was a box office bonanza for the WWF, proving that the promotion could tap into its undercard to sell out shows, despite the absence of Hulk Hogan on the card. The feud worked well on many levels, including the perfect pairing of a rugged babyface against a ruthless heel, a well-crafted series of bouts that escalated to must-see rematches, and some of the best wrestling on WWF cards. While Santana and Valentine weren't the first Intercontinental Champions to have good feuds, they took things to new levels, building a template that would lead to the Intercontinental Championship earning the nickname the Workhorse title. Do you remember the legendary Tito Santana vs. Greg Valentine feud? What other feuds would you like to see covered? Share your thoughts in the comments section, and let us know if there are any videos you'd like Wrestling's Greatest Moments to cover. In the meantime, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, Follow us on X and Instagram and spread the good news about wrestling's greatest moments, the channel that celebrates the squared circle.